Man, I hope I can repair this. That does not look good. Hey guys, so today we have another special bow that we're going to restore, rework, and try to make brand new again. It's not, a horrible handle. It needs a little bit of help, but it's not terrible. It really isn't. This right here is not good. It's completely straight side plate and rest. So we're gonna, of course, fix all that. He drew a couple little instructions on here for me. He wants this flat here, little radius here, and then he said when he was unstringing it to send it to me, the string hooked on the glass and peeled that back. So that is going to be the first course of action. We do not want that catching on something while we're working on other parts of the bow and blowing that whole limb off. Hopefully this is salvageable. I think I can fix it pretty accurately. The glass on here, this must be in a tremendously old bow. The reason I know that is because bows that are 50, 60 years plus old, you have sort of look like a pattern that looks like linen cloth in the glass. And I'm not exactly sure how that's done. I've heard some theories that these were big sheets that were pressed and then they just ripped them into strips, which makes sense to me. This is David Snide's bow. He told me the backstory here was he went to a shoot and forgot his bow, and when he got there he needed a bow, so he went and picked this up off the tailgate. Somebody selling it for 25 bucks. This is a United States archery company, Recurve. It's got a little Texas sticker here. It's kind of a cool bow, for sure. The fact that it's United States archery company, I've never even heard of that. It kind of looks like it has a Marine Corps symbol almost, with a globe and an eagle here. So we're going to get started. We're going to repair this first, and then while I was talking, I also noticed that either that's a glue line or a delam. I hope it's just a glue line, so that's going to have to be addressed. So let's get started with this first. Take the, oh! Man, I hope I can repair this. That does not look good. Epoxy might be better. I've made some very, very successful repairs with CA glue on this nature of this. The reason being is sometimes CA is not as flexible. However, to get epoxy clear down in there, I might struggle. Actually, no, I might use epoxy. I don't know. I'm tempted to use CA glue there, just because it's so thin, it's going to go all the way, and that might be more important than getting the exact right type of glue, is even saturation all the way through the damage. In fact, I'm going to fix that first, and then I'm going to shoot it, because if we can't successfully repair this, there's no reason to continue. Alright, so what we're going to do, I decided to go with smooth on, and the reason that is, it's my thickest viscosity, highest viscosity, but this is going to flex. I have to have that flexibility. I just can't risk using a rigid glue. So we're going to heat this stuff up really hot, which is going to give us just a few minutes to work with it. So we're going to put this in here. Fill that up. All the way in there. Just leave it there. I'll get, thank you. Blow that stuff in there. Whoa. This could get real messy. Okay. That's about as good as you're going to get it. Now, squeeze this down, take out the majority, because I don't want to create hydraulic pressure. Got to have plenty on there, but if I have too much, it will create hydraulic pressure and then be its own worst enemy. Okay, that looks real good. Got a mark on the bow limb and a mark on my form. Okay, next, making sure that that lines up. Get some temporary power here. Sure that's about right. That looks good. A little more pressure, a little more pressure, a little more. Got good squeeze out already. Okay, now I've got it stabilized. Now we'll do the center one. We distorted that block quite a bit, but it doesn't matter because the block is still together and it's lined up. It's very nice and tight in there. Fingers crossed, but I think it'll be a good repair. We'll stick it in the oven and we'll check it when it's done. It's the next day because due to the nature of the injury, I didn't want to put any pressure on it the same day I glued it. Even though the glue was pretty much cured up because I used heat, I wanted to give it a full almost 24 hours. So here's the repair. You can see, kind of turn it here. It glued down absolutely perfect. I mean, you would never know that there was an injury there. But I noticed here, probably the reason that it failed in the first place is if you see right here, that had been chipped back right there, the little green glass there where it comes there. That's probably what caused the injury in the first place, which is a building workmanship flaw because these here should be sanded back so there's no edge that could catch. I noticed it on both ends of this bow. Like for sure this one here, I mean, you could see it. It's a point. It's an abrupt location where there's no question it would cause a failure, which it did. So we're going to shoot it first because if it delaminates on us, there's no reason to go any further. So before I do that, I'm going to ease those back so there's no way the string or anything could catch on that. Usually I do this when I'm finished sanding, but because we have to shoot it to make sure we can continue with this project, I have to do it now. There's a lot of just itty-bitty things in high-quality bow building that make a huge difference if you do or you don't do them. These little things can make all the difference in the world on the performance and longevity of a bow, which on my Great Plains bows, I'm very conscious about all those little things that, you know, if you're not a bowyer, you'd never even think about, but literally could cause a failure or delam. Okay, so I'll go ahead and shape those, make them pretty. Right now, it's a light bow, but we're doing a full rework on this. This is not acceptable. The tip overlays reinforcements are just thin wood pieces. When I say thin, I mean it's a 1/16 or less. So that's not even protecting this bow at all. And of course, this is probably a 60, 70-year-old bow, which back then that's how they built them. But now we know that we have to reinforce those for higher quality, better strings that are being used in the market today in the industry. So, but because it's a light bow, I mean, it's going to be fine to shoot it. It's only 32 pounds, 62-inch recurve. So let's go ahead and shoot it, and we'll see if we can continue. Okay, so a quick overview on this bow. I strung it up. It is a 1/2 inch at a tiller. Slightly twisted, both limbs are slightly twisted. It is dead on weight what it's measured. So it's measured at 32, and it is 32 pounds. Or it's marked at 32, and it's 32 pounds. But it is slightly twisted, which I manually corrected that enough to shoot it. And a 1/2 inch out of tiller. But that's not going to matter for this here part, because all we're doing is making sure that it's stable enough that we can work on it after the delamination. So just filling this, it's an exceptionally smooth drawing bow. Really nice, really nice. Right off, I don't like the grip because it's a hot spot right here. Digs in. But that's good speed for a 32 pounder. Oh, it's a good shooter. Yeah, that's good. Nice, and just got a little bit of vibration and a slight bit of hand shock, but for this style, sort of a 50 style recurve, I would say it's very high performing. I like it a lot, actually. That wasn't very good, but that was a really light arrow. Here, let's go for a heavier arrow and see what that does. Try to get a smooth release. Oh, that's good. I can see, because the tiller is out so far, it's affecting the arrow flight just a bit. The timing is off on the limbs, so it's given just a slight bit of porpoise, which will be corrected when I'm done. Okay, that's all I need to know. It's structurally stable. It's good to shoot. Okay, so we're going to start with the tips because we've got to do it in the same sequence I do all my bows. So I'm just going to grind these off and replace them so they're fast flight compatible. So that's where we'll start. Okay, so here I've got my pieces. I'm going to do one layer of FR4 and then Pacific U, because whatever wood was on top there looked a lot like Pacific U, and it'll match these laminations. When you're gluing tips on the CA glue, you want to use the medium or thick. Thick works probably even better if you're not used to working with CA. I don't have any thick in the shop right now. I need to order some more. Medium's fine. We do a lot of tips with medium. But then I want to... Pacific U is pretty soft, so I don't want to over-tighten these clamps and dent them. And also, because this glass is so old, I don't want to over-tighten the clamps and crack the glass on the belly side of the bow. So, I'm going to go down here, and we want that to be a real... I've got to put it right in the center, because we want that to be a real tight fit. That was weird. I heard just a little creak, and then they're not even tight yet. I hope that everything's okay. This is a very, very old bow, though, so anything could happen. Okay, that's as tight as I'm going to go. Now, I'm going to clean up the excess. And then just hit it with accelerator so there's not drips everywhere. Okay, that one's done. Let's just check. Ah, that looks good. So in my bows, I put it down 1 inch, but on this one, that's not going to work. So, as I can see here, that I need to be about right here, which is going to be 32nd over 7/8. We'll probably do it. That'll work. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh yeah. So that's not cool, but that'll be taken out at another step, and it'll look, you'll never know what would happen. Perfect. So now I am going to change this now. You can see this just wasn't shaped good. Way too deep here, not as deep here. A little thing popped up again. But it's solid right here, just not that. So we're going to just take that off. Okay, come in here. Carefully shape this because this stuff is so soft. And that's kind of an issue right there, but okay. Now we will deepen these. Not a lot. We don't have a lot of room here. Just a little bit. And then all I'm going to do here, I'm not going to deepen this, I'm just going to clean out that glue, because this is the side that I repaired. So I don't want any of that glue. I don't mind if there's a smooth layer of glue in there, I just don't want any sharp edges that could limit string longevity. And I want that line crisp. All that line right there, crisp, all the way back. You can see it right there. That's where they cut too deep initially. I think what I'm going to do, let's set it up, let's look at it, and then I have an idea. Now, once again, this is where I did the repair. So there's glue. There's a layer of glue, that a real thin layer of epoxy is on top of here. Okay, so that's kind of showing our final shape. That looks really nice. Now you can see right there. You know what? I am going to glue that down because I don't really want to take that off. That's the deal. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take my file point and we're just going to push on there. Right. It's going to go here. The tip. Okay. Now the thing is, when you're pressing down on something like this, you don't want to pull straight up because that could just pop your workpiece off. So what we're going to do is we're going to twist it, break the seal, and we're fixed. Okay, now we'll clean out the glue. I do not like this type of string groove, and I'll tell you why. Because you can find a string that fits this string groove perfectly, but say that you get a string that doesn't have the right size of loop, or it's the loop's too tight, or the loop's too big, and then the loop comes down. If the loop's too big, you know, it's coming down here, and then you're missing that. Or if it's going to have to be a pretty tight loop to fit that, or, you know, this makes you always have to use a specific type of string. Whereas if you come up here and you stop at your grooves stop here, and then lower down here your string groove starts. You can about use any type of string and it'll work perfectly. This type of orientation limits you on the amount of strings that you can use. Also, in the more recent 59 Kodiak Purple Heart bears, the newer ones, they are cut too deep. I've had a number of them come in where this here, and like this is borderline. Now the reason this is cut that way is because that's how it was. I would never cut it that deep if you're going to make this. A properly done string groove in this kind of orientation doesn't go through the glass, because you're weakening the top part of that limb too much. And so we're seeing those new 59 bears, we're seeing them break, and we're seeing that string shearing into here and just completely toasting that tip because it's cut too deep. I actually have a brand new one right now that a customer sent me, and I decided that I wasn't going to fix it, but I put it up on my rack and I've been walking past it, and I think I now know how to fix it. So I'm going to attempt that, probably film that. Okay, so now I've got this. It's completely glued down tight. So now we can leave it, and we have that crisp point there. So, okay, so if my camera lady can come back over here, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that divot. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So originally I had said I was going to have to shape that, but I decided I could actually make it work doing the tips like me. This is going to look so much better. But right here we have a problem because I'm unwilling to cut this groove in there any further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that. I'm going to do that with take 220. And we're going to just sand that. You see it starting to build up there in that hole? That's what we're after. Look at that. That's perfect. Okay. A little more. Okay, right there. So now, it's not going to look like it would if it didn't have that hole, but the important thing is it's going to be stable, and it's going to allow us to have the tip shape we want, and it's not going to look bad. I mean, if you don't know it's there, you're probably going to have a tough time finding it. So got a little bit of glue on there, just a dab. I don't know how well you can see that itty bitty default. But see, we'll just continue to fill that hole. Okay, almost closed. Now, while I'm doing this, I got to be careful. I don't misshape this tip. In fact, I'm going to get a new spot here. Okay. This is actually going to look really good. Probably better than I thought. This stuff is tedious. You know what? I do this on a lot of my reworks, and that's why my reworks are so time consuming when y'all send me bows, because I really do try to make them as perfect as possible, but what that means is a lot of times I'm behind on my work. When you take this kind of time for every bow, that really makes it so you can't deliver when you said you would. Okay, man, that looks fantastic, that repair. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just clean it all up with 220, and then we're going to be done with this side, this tip on the belly side. Not completely done with the tip. We still have to do the back side. Okay, so I just wanted to show this all cleaned up. So that's all cleaned up with 220. And actually this here back side is ready for finish. I'm really happy with it. And so the deepest part of this here is all covered by that piece of FR4 I've got on there, so I don't see any way that's going to break. And then I filled that hole, so man, that's better than I could have expected or hoped for. So that is done. and see what they look like finished up. This is what they look like on the back side of the bow, and this is what they look like on the belly side of the bow. Okay, so I was just looking at this here, and you can see here this is it's about 1 5/8. Come down here, and that's about 7/8. So it's not even cut to center. 1 5/8 would be, well, yeah, it would be 7/8 about. So it's cut, yeah, but it's not. It's kind of bulged out here, so it's probably, if I eye that in, that's closer to 1 inch. So I'm going to radius this and cut it past center, because we've got enough material here. It's a nice thick piece here, and it's a light bow, so it should be plenty strong enough. So to do that first, I was noticing there's a little crack here, but it doesn't move. So I don't know if somebody already tried to glue it. I don't think it moves. Let me check something here. No, it really doesn't. It doesn't move at all. So I couldn't really glue that. But it'll probably, once I shape it some more, it'll probably relieve that glue that somebody tried to put in there, and I'll probably be able to close it. So first step, we're going to clamp it on the device, and then we're going to sort of cut our rough shape. Okay, so I've got this clamp. It doesn't, for this here step, it don't have to be that tight. So looking at this here, I've got, it's a little bit too wide for comfort right here, but I was thinking about this. I think what I'll do is I'll cut this down so that it's more natural shape. This is weird, this here flat spot here. So I'm going to put that, the high point of that shelf, I'm going to put it about right here. So let's make a mark here. Okay, so we're going to cut away a lot of the bulk of this so we don't have to grind so much with the hacksaw here. Not bad. So I'm going to use the reveal right here just to stay straight. As I come down. To right there, and then I'm going to come in here. Just removing that bulk, and you wouldn't think that that would make a difference. That little step actually really orients you and puts you in the right place to do a good job on the next step. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, this is my 2x72 knife grinder, and I'm not going to do the shelf here, I'm just going to do the side plate, and then we'll do the shelf over there. So there's my line, so I don't want to go any further than that because I want the high point to be there. So now I'll start taking off of this side. Okay, that looks real good. I always want to be on the cautious side when I'm dealing with an old bow. And I know I've taken, it may not look like it, but I've taken a lot of material off there. So now we're going to go and radius that with the 12-inch disc tender. I gotta be a little bit careful. I don't want to blow that glass off, so we're going to take a few light passes. See how it responds. That's good. Oh yeah, it's doing great. Okay. So where's my high point? Okay, I need to move it back just a little bit. And there I did it. This is what I was talking about, that there was, so I think they tried to glue that back together and it did not work. And so there was a void there. So now I had to find that other piece. Hit your foot? I got this piece. Well, doggone it. That sucks. It was going beautifully. I think what happened is they had tried to glue it, and when I got past the area where their glue went in, it just came right out. But unfortunately, there was no way to avoid that, because that glue that semi went in there had created a barrier, and it was going to happen no matter what. You can make it look great without it on there. Yeah, I'm just going to reshape it. I can make it look really good without it on there. Plus, this shelf was too high. It was 1.25 inches above center, which is not ideal. So this will be good. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted. So you can see the high points about right here. And it looks like it's a little too far that way, but keep in mind, I'm going to carve it in this because this is way too thick. And this is going to end up looking great. And honestly, this is better because with that buildup in there, I couldn't have smashed that flat even if I'd have tried to. I would have ended up destroying the glass from the pressure. And this is a nice tight glue line. So now we don't have to worry about this being a weak spot that cannot be glued. Removing that is actually going to make this a lot better. It would have looked cool to have that come down there like that. It would have looked pretty cool. But we'll make it look awesome with the way it is now. I'll never know how I'm going to do this until I start, but while I was working on it, what I want to do is I want to come in here and make that, and then I want to flatten this out, this right here, 2 inches. So I think we can make this into a super comfy handle. Yes. So I'm going to start with the shell. Okay, so this is the next day because we ran out of time. It was Saturday evening. So we're filming this the next day on Sunday. But we got to get this done because this can't cut into my regular bow work. These special projects take a ton of time. And if I do them, I got to do them in the extra hours or I can't get my regular work done. But anyway, I went ahead and finished carving this. I'm happy with this. And then I kind of cleaned it up with 80 grit on the pneumatics. I'll do a little bit more. It's not completely finished because around here is still rough. So I'll chamfer this, clean this up. But it's the shape I'm gonna stay with. Really super comfortable. Oh, and then what I did is the finish on this was so old, and I thought I don't really want to reduce any weight off it because it's already only a 32-pound bow. So I decided I'll try scraping it, and I did, and it was fun to scrape, and so I scraped three sides of the limbs, and then this is after we quit filming last night. So I saved one to scrape to show you what it looks, but the finish is so old that it just puffs up in powder as you scrape it off, and it's a lot better way to take this particular finish. I don't do this with a lot of bows, but because this bow's so old, the glass is thin, I don't want to take weight off. Scraping it is the ideal way to go because then it just takes a little bit of cleanup. As you can see, I just cleaned it up. Now, I'm not going to be able to save the decals. I'm going to see if I can find some replacement decals, so I took close pictures of them. It's very unlikely, but there's just no way to save these and make it look brand new with that old nasty finish on there. It would flake off the new finish and it wouldn't work. So that's kind of disappointing. Really disappointing. I wanted to save those old decals. But see if I can find some replacement, maybe. So I'm just gonna, we're getting close to finished with this bow. So let's scrape this. I want to show you how that works. We'll do that quick. And then we're going to finish tuning it. We're going to shoot it with the new configuration here. So don't want a real sharp knife, but so that's not what it was doing yesterday. That's sort of coming off in strips. Yesterday it was doing like that right there, that powder, just powdering. It doesn't matter, but it's so old, and that finish is just brittle. However, that is actually a really good finish to have lasted 70 years or so and not get horizontal cracks in it. It's actually, whatever they put on there was pretty good. So the minute I take it off, you can see those the glass weave in there. Whatever this is. So I did a little more research on this company. It's a bow company that was based in Connecticut, I believe. And they were a traditional only company as far as I can find. And when the compound craze hit, they did not make compounds, and so they just sort of died out. But everybody I've talked to that got one of those, got one of the United States archery bows, loved it. This one is, I believe, a Texan or Texas edition. This particular model. I looked on eBay, I can't find anything. This bow is for David Snide, and he's the owner of Whiskey City Trad Gear. He makes the hipster quiver, which I love. It's a 3D quiver. It goes on your hip, and it's for 3D shoots. It's absolutely an awesome quiver. It's really cool, and I'll let Dave tell you his whole story, but he's going to do a video with this bow too. And it's all going to come together here for us. So it's sort of a collaboration between him and I. And but I made a mistake because when I first introduced this bow, I said it was Whiskey Creek. It is not Whiskey Creek. It's Whiskey City. That's the name of his business, Whiskey City. Super cool logo that he has. And I love his little quiver. Oh yeah, Chris brought this quiver. This is I did a little review of it on my YouTube channel, but I'll show it to you again real quick. So it's Whiskey City, not Whiskey Creek. I said Whiskey Creek at first, but it's got this little lanyard with your score. It's the coolest little clipboard for your scores. I mean, it's so cool, and it's a really strong lanyard. So write your scores down, let it go, and then it's got a little paracord. I think I might have rigged that up. Put a little piece of paracord. I don't think it came that way, but I stuck a pencil in here too. Oh yeah, it came with this one. That's right. It's got WC Trad Gear on it. But it's got a little. You can put it in a hard tube for your arrows, or you can just put them in there. I like the hard tube. Really keeps them separated. Then it's got all kinds of pockets. It's loaded with pockets all over the place. You know, you could strap something in there. Pocket here, pocket here, pocket here, pocket here. Little vented pocket here. There's the logo down in there. And just super lightweight. Awesome little quiver. But anyway, this bow belongs to David Snyder. And David Snide, not Snyder. David Snide. And we are doing a collaboration. And once again, he got this bow because he left his bow at home and he picked this up at a shoot. I want to say, I think he told me for 25 bucks. Man, he really, really scored with this bow. If my repair is successful, which I believe it is, this will be a bow that's good for many, many years. But if it's not, then it'll be firewood. However, I've put a lot of stress on it, and it's absolutely perfect. Okay. So we've got a lot of the rough handle shape done. Before I tune it, I'm going to tune it, but right before I tune it, let's go ahead and chamfer this and kind of clean this up so we have the feel of the final grip. That way when we test shoot it, we'll feel exactly how it's going to feel when it's done. This is where that glass blew off, but I have to make this look right in this corner. And more importantly, that there's no edge that can be caught by fletching or anything. And I'll show this on camera when I'm done here. I knew this would come together, I just didn't know how. A lot of times a bow just sort of, I just let it be what it wants to be. I do the Bob Ross thing when he's making a painting. I just kind of let the bow, however it's built, just sort of let it express itself. Whatever angles looks best so that it just flows. And this one is definitely going to flow. It's just going to be a super, super cool bow when we're done. The only thing I wish I had is the decals. I just want to get the feel of it before I tune it. So I'll show you what I did here. So if you remember, this here used to come down here and go like that, and there was probably about a spot about that big. When I was shaping the shelf, that piece blew off. So we kind of changed the style of it. Hey, everybody. So I'm gonna, it's gonna look somewhat like that. That's not the final shape, but I am going to, I glued this once. When I go ahead and edge set and finish it out, we're gonna glue that again because we're just not taking any chances with that. Now this is the area that he wanted flat, and it's an absolute great feel. You got a nice area for flat, but you can still shoot it. If you're an open hand shooter, you got a flat back here, and you can put, you could shoot it with 2 or 3 fingers on there. If you shoot it like I do, which is like this, you still got a nice flat area there, and then your fingers can wrap around. But it's just a great feel. Now today is a Sunday, and I don't feel great about working on Sundays, but I just have to. I just have such an astronomical amount of work and people waiting on me. And kind of a one-man shop when it comes to reworks. I'm the only one that does them here. But I would, I would say it's a better idea to spend time with your family on the weekends, but because I work right here, I can spend time with my kids, and we're going to go play volleyball this evening, so I'm going to get this done. I got a serious problem trying to get my work done, but I got a stage 5 clinger right here. She is holding on tight. What are we going to do, Zoe Ray?
Nothing.
Are you going to hang on to me all day?
Mm-hmm.
How about this? Alright, Dad's got to work. Where'd my bow go? Alright, so before, when I would just strung it up just to shoot it to see if it was structurally okay, it had a bad tiller problem. So let's check it now. So right off I can see, you see this? It's a lot bigger gap than here. But what I'm looking at first is, you know, how it bends. These are nice fade outs, beautiful. If you see a bow where you can see a definitive angle change right here, you've got a hinge in that bow, and that's a big problem. That bow will fail at some point. It may take a number of years, but it will fail if it's going like this and then like this. You cannot have a hinge right in the fade out, but this is just perfect. So very, very well built bow. Well, it has to be well built to have lasted 60, 70 years, so we know that already. So basically I'm happy with the weight, so all I got to do now is make this limb a touch weaker so that the tiller is corrected. I'm going to quick check the twist, sure that limb's straight. Actually pretty impressed with the whole thing, the glue lines, everything. It's just a very, very well built bow. Top limb's straight, it's just the tiller. So like I said, we're at a tiller about a ½ inch. So we need to make this limb weaker. So now the question is, how do we want to make it weaker? Let's check the width of these, because if one is, you know, if this one's wider, we'll take it off the sides. Okay, so we can take a 1/16 off. That's good. So we'll take that off, and then let's take a look here. Man, there's just not much glass. I'm going to try to take most of it off the sides. So we're going to take 4 passes off this each side, and then we're going to angle it. So So 8 in total. Yeah, so we moved it a solid 3/16, which is good. It's not enough. We still have some room to go, so we're going to do the exact same thing again. I can see the string groove was put just a little to that direction. And it's not much out, just a hair. So we'll do a couple more passes on that side. Let's mark it. Sheesh, we're close, but we're not quite there. Now what do I want to do? Phew. I think I'm going to take some off lower down over here with it strung this time. I've got to be really careful doing this. So instead I'm going to start it about right here. Well, that made it dead perfectly straight. 7 and 11. Okay, now we're within 3/16, but I need just a tiny bit more. Let me see which side I could take it off. Oh, that's even. I mean, there is some tape damage and this bad sticker on the belly. So we're going to take it off there. I don't want to dig it out too bad, just really lightly. That's it. I'm gonna check that. Man, I just keep getting more and more impressed. I know you can see the weave of the glass, but there's like no scratches, no dings, no grooves. I'd build bows with this glass. Some high quality stuff. Feel it's a little lighter, which is okay. I just don't want to go below 30 pounds if I can help it. 7 3/4. Oh, perfect tiller. Let's see how many pounds I took off. I hope it's not below 30. Oh, good. I only took 1 pound off. Fantastic. Okay, now we got her tuned. The fun part, let's shoot it. With the new shelf configuration, the new handle configuration. I've never shot it with perfectly tuned limbs. The only time I shot it was when they were completely an inch out of tiller. Now the limbs are straight, perfectly tillered and tuned. Now this ought to be fun. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's so silky smooth on the draw. Of course it is light, but still. That's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, it's got a little string slap. All that could be fixed with, I guess it does have some sort of winky silencers on here. Those are pretty crappy, but let's try another one here. Wow. It's dead in the hand. It's fast. It's smooth. It's accurate. All right, let's try, see how, those first 3 I just kind of wanged them. Let's see if I can, that was a perfect shot. Oh, that was bad. But that arrow was super heavy, stiff spined arrow. Let's see. This one here is close, maybe a little stiff spined yet. Oh, that's such a great bow. Here, let's see. This one ought to be about right. That's incredible. I could shoot this whole stack of arrows. It's so much fun. It's just so impressive. I'm just center punching that target right now. Look at that. Can't stop shooting. Oh, that was a bad one. But half the knock was broke off on the arrow. I shouldn't have even shot that thing. Center punched it again. Now these arrows are crap. They're Chinese arrows that came with Nick's REWORKs. Let's see how it shoots a pure junk arrow. Not bad. A little bit of arc to it. Shooting to the right on those. Exactly the same spot, both shots. Exactly the same spot. One more. Oh, you gotta see this. Bring the camera over here. Huh? So this is close to 20 yards where I was shooting. Really have no experience with this bow. Now I had some flyers here, but and this is interesting. These are these Chinese arrows. That's how consistent this bow is. I was aiming about right here. So these must be either too stiff or too weak spined or something improper. They are sticking out straight, so could be a number of things. Probably think about that in relation to the bow a little bit. But all of these hit within a circle about that big. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 arrows right in the center of the target. Only time I've shot this bow was when it was an inch out of tiller. This sucker is awesome. I got to tell you. I love it. All right. Unstring it and we'll finish it up in the spray booth. So right here is where it delaminated, and I can't quite remember how far back. It was quite a ways when I pulled it away and looked. I mean, it was clear back to here. But just laying naturally unstrung, I think it came off about right here. But it was a very significant delam, and it went clear back into here, and then it separated right here where the string groove is. This pilled up, and that was detached there, of course, so this side didn't pill up, but it was a devastating failure here on this limb. And so getting that glued back together, of course you never know if it's going to be successful or if it's going to hold, but it absolutely held perfectly. And I mean, it's tight. It's a very tight glue line. No sign whatsoever of it coming back up, so really happy with that repair. This glass is absolutely perfect, and it's just glowing. It's just beautiful. And then on this side, you look at this, it looks really dark, probably does on camera, but it's actually a very, very dark green. I would call it a dark forest green. If you look right here, right there, you can see that where it's kind of thinner, that you can see that dark forest green. Just absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous. And I went ahead, and replaced the tips, reinforced them for fast flight, and then I put Pacific U on the top because it matches the core pretty good. I believe that's maple, but it's sort of dark. It's aged over time. Yeah, that's definitely maple. Some of the things I didn't show when I was finishing out, just because the videos get so long, is sort of down around here, up in here, on these edges. There was some voids there, and that was probably just from speed gluing these things in mass quantities. Not bad. I mean, it's structurally stable. Obviously, it's lasted this many years. It's very stable. But I went ahead and filled those, cleaned them up, smoothed them out, and man, it's gorgeous little bow now. It finished out at 31 pounds. When I started working on it, it was 32. So yeah, I'm thrilled with how this turned out. It's just, I wish it was mine right now. So absolutely awesome to shoot. It is so silky smooth. That probably has to do with it being a recurve and a full 62 inches long. And just overall, just an awesome little bow. And it turned out, I'm just really happy with how it turned out. So there it is. That's the United States Archery Company Texan. It's the Texan model. And David has a flyer that shows all the different models. That's really cool. But it turned out really great. I hope to be able to do another one. And that's really about all I've got to say on it.